What's up, creepers and geekers? Chris, the Atari Creep. How is everyone doing today? Welcome back to the Blade Runner prop blaster build. My apologies for the big delay in between the last video and this one. You know, lots came up. We got the Atari box and Retron 77 I had to cover, and I'm still going to be covering that. Plus I had to get some supplies, and I dragged my ass a little bit, and once in a while you just got to take a break. So I did start work on this yesterday a little bit when I had a few moments to myself. I did some putty work. Now, from here on out, you're literally going to just see the next step, the next stages. I'm not going to do a play-by-play on putty work. It's sculpting and sanding, and it's boring as hell. So, but what I've gotten done so far is I got the back here done, and I'm pretty happy with it. I dig the shape. It's the essence of what I was going for. And I decided to add this little piece here. I'm going to have to clean it up a little bit more. But what I was after was basically the idea of this here. If you look at it on this one as well. Yeah, so I think I got the basic idea down. And, it has this separation here. I scribed in a line with my X-Acto blade very carefully. It still needs to be cleaned up a little bit more. I need to get my emery board into here to flatten it out just a slight bit more. And I, in hindsight, should have put a nub in here before this cured, but we'll get the nub in there. Don't worry about it. Every gun has to have a nipple. So I ended up doing this part here, which is supposed to somewhat mimic this. I came somewhat close, if you look. It looks like a mess right now because, again, it's raw. I still got a little bit more sanding to do. And then I'm going to touch up a few spots with some just spot putty, especially in here because it's tough to get some sandpaper in there. And I did a little bit on this side, and I'll tell you why. I don't know if it's on the screen use prop. I haven't really researched it, but this is somebody's mock-up. Obviously, it's not a screen accurate one, but they had this little detail here. I didn't go for it 100%. I just thought it balanced it out nicely, so I did it on this side as well. So whatever putty I had left over, I just jammed in here because I knew I was going to need to fill that gap. So today I'm going to work on. I was debating on going from. Ooh, sorry about that. I was debating on going from the front to the back. I think I'm going to start here and work my way here, come up and around, and then finish working on the front of the magazine area. I'm going to shave this down a little bit, the Duplo block, just at an angle, just so I can have a nice even transition there. Maybe put a quick bead of the putty up here for transition between the magazine and the barrel. Also going to do pretty much the same thing on this side. I'm still aesthetically thinking about how I want to continue from these, because a lot of people cut these off and just kind of rebuild it to what it looks like, on the film prop. But I'm going to leave these here because there's a lot of cool aesthetics to it. And again, I'm not going for a screen accurate prop. I'm going for the essence of it. And of course, anyone who knows the movie will go, "Oh, that's a Blade Runner blaster," until of course they get up close and they're like, "Oh, well, there's a lot of inaccuracies." But I don't care about that. It's my gun. So I'm going to start working on here, and hopefully I'll have this side done, and I'll come right back to you. Okay, guys, so this is where we're at so far. I spent yesterday adding putty to basically all down here and some in here. I added a little bit more here just to kind of even out some of the surfaces. Of course, I'm going to still have to hit it with some spot putty in little places, but this is flat and smooth. These have been cured, and I've been sanding them. I spent pretty much all last night watching TV or listening to TV while sanding the shit out of this to get the shapes and the contours. And the contrast of the color, I know you can't see it, but there is contours going with the original plastic pieces here, so it hopefully blends somewhat seamlessly. I'm sure it's not going to be perfect, but and then this morning I started working on here, and again, it's a mess because it's still in its raw forms, and while it's still a little soft, I should probably smooth a little bit more out. But I'm happy with it for the most part, and then once that cures, I'll sand and shape it and everything with the Dremel. But I'm looking at this spot right here, and I don't quite know what I want to do with this. I don't know if I want to extend the cylinder. I don't know. I've said it 100 times. With my prop, I got to do my own thing, my own flavor, and my own signature. And I know it's probably going to kill a lot of you die-hard Screen Accurate fans, but this isn't a Screen Accurate prop to begin with, but I always got to give it my own flavor. So it's like, I'm sure you can hear it in my voice. I'm going back and forth on what to do here. Some people have actually just removed this whole thing and rebuilt theirs. I don't want to do that. I like what's here. I know with some really cool paint, this is going to look gorgeous. And, you know, we got a couple of fake screws. So, I don't know if you can tell, but I've been cleaning out the hot glue that's been in there. I've been basically using that in there for space, you know, to take up space. What I might end up doing is not necessarily building on this, but completing it, so to speak. I know I keep hitting the camera, sorry. But leaving this space somewhat empty, with the exception of maybe evidence of repairs. Much like the Kylo Saber, it got fucked up at one point. Now there's a big wire going up the front of it, and maybe I'll do something similar in here. You know, I was out hunting replicants, and one of them shot my hand, and the gun got hit with the round, and I had to repair my weapon instead of getting a new one, because, you know, this one's sentimental to me. Whatever the story is. So I don't know, let me stew on that just for a little bit. Let me go refill my cup of coffee. And in the next clip, you'll see what I have, or I'll at least explain to you what I think I'm going to do if I don't have the things around here to do what I finally decide to do. Alright, so I sat on it for a little bit, and this is what I've come up with, for better or for worse. You know, I mean, of course, I cleaned up in here a little bit. Still some more to do, but came up with using this little doohickey. It's got an interesting shape to it. Used to have a rubber gasket in here, and that was a pain in the ass, so I got to find something to fill that with. Maybe with some copper wire, I'll make a coil or something to go in there, but you know, it looks like there's a couple of little bolts in here, and you know, I sanded it down right there so it'll caress the barrel. And the idea is to put it in like that. And I think that's going to work out really nice. You know, I added a little bit more putty down here to kind of balance it. But what this thing was, if you really need to know, is it used to look like this. I have a couple of these in my little box of trinkets and greeblies, or whatever you want to call them. This came from a ink printer cartridge. This was the top. You just pop it off and everything. Of course, I cut this off and I sanded it down so it was nice and round, so it would match the bottom. But I think once painted, that's going to look cool, and once I figure out something to put inside the center here. So we got that worked out, so I think that's going to work really nice. Now that the putty is completely cured, I'm going to sand it and shape it now, because as you see, it's a fucking mess. And once I figure out something for the trigger guard, we're ready for paint. So let me do some sanding, some cleaning up, some shaping, and hopefully we'll be done here pretty soon. Alright guys, so this is going to be it for the video. Next video will be the final product revealed. But I finally came up with the last piece of the puzzle, Mr. Trigger Guard. And on my way to the store to grab some Pepsi Fire and a pack of smokes, I found this piece of plastic. I cut it down in half, and I was able to just bend it into the basic shape. And I think this is going to work out. I mean, obviously there's a lot more cleaning up to do to it. But the basic idea is I'm going to use the spot here on the grip where the original trigger guard was, and once I seat it in here where I want it, it's going to seat right there, and I think that looks fine. I think it looks great. So I'm going to round off the edges, obviously make this more universal flatness so it seats on here a little bit better. I'm going to have to do a little bit of putty work in here to make sure it stays, and maybe a little bit up here, but either way, all the pieces are set in place. And the next time you see it, it will be complete. Guys, thank you as always so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying this build here. I'm having a blast putting this together. It's been a long time since I've done some extensive work. But I do have a lot more cleanup to do. And then I'll get to painting it. And hopefully we can all ooh and ah before the end of this weekend at the gloriness that is the Blade Runner Blaster-esque gun. So, as always, thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and leave some feedback, thumbs up, thumbs down. No feedback is negative, it's all positive to me. And until next time, guys, take care. And bye-bye. Hey, what's up, folks? The Creep here. Thank you, as always, so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe for more. You can follow The Creep on social media, and feel free to reach out at any time here on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Creep would love to hear from you. And as always, thank you, take care, and bye-bye.